foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, fire crews had their hands full over the weekend. One wildfire in particular was off Route 9 in Clifton.
We'll have the details coming up. Plus, Governor Janet Mills signs the $500 million supplemental budget plan. We'll have the details on that as well.
And changes are coming to the Whoopie Pie Festival when it comes to parking and traffic. We'll bring you that story as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for being there. We're glad you joined us on this Monday morning. And we hope you had a wonderful weekend, too. Certainly ended up being a nice weekend.
Great weather for it.
Yeah, we'll have all the day's news coming up over the next hour. But first, to check that forecast, we're having to deal with some rainy weather today, which is good because my pickup truck needs a bath.
Yes, we need some car washes.
It's the only time I think I'm driving like a 21-year-old pickup truck.
Yeah.
So it's the only time it gets washed is when it rains, pretty much. So,
well.
Good news is things will be warming up and getting kind of like early summer-like around here almost.
We're going to cross our fingers.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be near 70 tomorrow. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We'll be watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame. Moving forward, we have rain that's moving in this morning for the northwest and going toward the south and east. The lightning tracker is on. Thankfully, no lightning occurring, so just a gentle, sometimes moderate rainfall occurring. As we do zoom things out, here's that area low pressure that is tracking off towards the east, and we will be watching for some rainfall and some breaks occurring. So later on this morning, we'll be watching for the rainfall and some gusty winds with more rain occurring this afternoon in the parts of the evening time frame. Notice by tomorrow, still some clouds lingering. As for the gusty winds reaching up to about 25 to even 30 miles per hour today, getting close to 40 miles per hour along the coast, and we'll keep the winds going this afternoon as well as in the evening time frame, and the winds slowly backing off as we head towards tomorrow. Your hourly forecast moving forward for today, notice we'll have the clouds and the rain backing off for a bit but picking up as we head towards the afternoon period. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, fire crews were kept busy over the weekend with a number of bad fires, including in Blue Hill, where 2 people had been displaced following a fire at a home. The Blue Hill Fire Department responded to a structure fire on the Kingdom Road at around 8 p.m. on Saturday. Upon arrival, crews found a fully involved 2-story residence with flames coming out of the windows. According to Blue Hill Fire Chief John Chapman, the 2 residents were evacuated and did not sustain any injuries, but all of their belongings were destroyed in the fire. Chief Chapman says the structure's metal roof made it challenging for firefighters to attack those flames. He says the home is a total loss.
Difficult situation. Somebody's lost everything they own. That's the hardest part. There is a pretty good support network for the individuals here. We did call the Red Cross to make sure that they were advised. We're very fortunate in this area that we have a firefighter that's actually with the Red Cross. So we were actually able to start that ball rolling right here from the scene.
We spoke with the homeowner off camera, and he shared that their 2 dogs are safe, but 1 cat is missing. The Department of Public Safety on Sunday deemed the fire as accidental and was caused by careless disposal of smoking materials. No injuries were reported. A GoFundMe has been created to assist that couple. The information can be found on our website at foxbangor.com.
Meanwhile, a Palmyra family also lost their home in a fire on Saturday. Crews responded to a travel camper that was converted into a woodworking shop on Warren Hill Road, which was heavily involved in flames. When they got on the scene around 11 o'clock Saturday, the fire had already spread to an adjacent home. No one was there at the time, but there was a cat in the residence that the Department of Public Safety says is still unaccounted for.
Us in another town were actually out at training, so manpower was a little low. So we had Corinna, Newport, Pittsfield, Canaan, St. Albans, and ourselves.
The Department of Public Safety says despite investigators being unable to determine an origin and cause of the fire, there's no indication of any suspicious activity, and the fire is classified as undetermined.
Fire crews also had their hands full with a fast-moving wildfire in Clifton. According to Eddington's fire department, it was just before noon on Sunday when they were called to a fire off Route 9. The grass and woods fire was growing in size, prompting a call for help from Holden Fire and firefighters in the Maine Forest Service. They spent the next couple of hours using hand tools and other equipment to fight the fire as the Forest Service helicopter dropped water from above. The fire burned a little less than 10 acres and no injuries are reported. Fire crews continue to watch for hot spots throughout the night.
Well, Maine State Police are investigating a suspicious death in Brunswick. According to spokesperson Shannon Moss, the Bath Police Department responded to a home at around 6:30 Friday night to a reported disturbance. It was then that a male subject identified as 45-year-old Tanner Dosty of Brunswick made statements to the officers that prompted further investigation.
That investigation led them to a Brunswick residence where a deceased male was located. Dosty was charged with murder and transported to the Cumberland County Jail. The body of the deceased was transported to the office of the chief medical examiner for an autopsy and identification. Authorities say the investigation remains ongoing. Meanwhile, a Maine mom is suing a Penobscot County hospital and 2 providers for alleged medical malpractice.
She claims they mishandled her daughter's painful joint condition. Callie Warren with the story.
Many 7-year-old girls love to play outside, run around, participate in sports, but according to her mother, 7-year-old Kensley Haven didn't have that opportunity without constant pain and discomfort. Her mother, Elizabeth Haven Sirami, says it's the fault of the healthcare providers who were meant to help her. This is Kensley Haven, who faces a possible lifetime of pain, according to her mother, who's suing the Millinocket Regional Hospital for alleged medical malpractice. According to the lawsuit, Sirami says that her daughter Kensley suffered since birth with a condition called developmental dysplasia of the hip, or DDH. It means her hip sockets failed to develop normally and stabilize. In a complaint filed in Penobscot County Superior Court on Tuesday, Sirami says both of Kensley's hips were dislocated until she was almost 5 years old. It resulted in pain, delayed milestones, and an abnormal gait, which she says her daughter's healthcare providers, now defendants in this case, failed to diagnose and treat. Sirami says that if these defendants had recognized Kensley's condition when she was younger, she might have been able to avoid multiple invasive surgeries, increased risk for a degenerative hip disease, and likely lifelong physical impairment. The complaint she filed details multiple instances in which Kensley's healthcare providers, family nurse practitioner Melody Hamilton and Dr. Edward Dunstan, allegedly failed to recognize her hip dysplasia. The complaint reads in part, quote, "Clear warning signs of DDH were repeatedly documented, but misunderstood or unappreciated, improperly evaluated, and ultimately not acted upon until the window for effective treatment had closed," end quote. Sirami is seeking damages for medical expenses, physical suffering, emotional stress, and more. Additionally, she's suing for Kensley's permanent impairment, pain, suffering, distress, loss of earning capacity, and other issues. We reached out to the hospital for comment, but have yet to hear back at this time. Sirami declined to comment, and her legal team has not responded to our request. In studio, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Governor Janet Mills signed the $500 million supplemental budget plan into law on Friday. The budget includes a 2% tax on Mainers who make more than $1 million a year, $300 relief checks for qualifying Mainers, and it also makes the free community college program permanent. Mills signed the budget during a visit to Eastern Maine Community College.
Everything that this campus and the 6 other campuses offer are critical needs for our people, our families, our economy, and critical needs for the young people who need to find a good job, need to find a good career that fits them, that suits them. And that's what I've seen in touring the community college campuses all over this state. People so excited to be where they are, learn what they're learning, and do what they're doing.
Well, some House Republicans shared their perspectives about the budget signing in their weekly radio address. House Republican leader Billy Bob Falkingham and Assistant Leader Katrina Smith said after 8 years of record-breaking revenues, Democrats raised taxes on working families last year to cover massive main care shortfalls, and they claim they're doing it again.
After targeting low-income earners, now they're raising taxes again, this time targeting high earners. But here's the reality. Those taxpayers are the most mobile. They can leave. And when they do, Maine loses jobs, investment, and future revenue.
Meanwhile, State Senator Jim Libby has dropped out of the race to be next governor in Maine. Libby shared his decision in a Facebook post saying, quote, "As I did not qualify for Clean Elections financial support, I have determined my campaign is no longer viable." Maine Ethics Commission staff found Libby did not submit the necessary number of valid qualifying contributions. Candidates are also required to submit proof that contributors are registered to vote in Maine. The Maine Ethics Commission says Libby did not do that for a significant number of his contributors.
Meanwhile, Americans generate an estimated 3 billion sharps in at-home injection waste, and one website is trying to encourage responsible and safe disposal. MyOldMeds.com is a website that helps people find drug and sharps disposal resources, and they've just launched a Maine-specific page to provide patients with adequate disposal resources. The page advises sharps disposal in sealed and labeled plastic containers. It also provides a locator of drop-off locations for sharps and other prescription medications. National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day is on Saturday, April 25th, but not all take-back sites accept sharps. For a link to those resources and more information, you can visit this story on our website, foxbangor.com.
Plans for a new town dock in Bucksport are moving forward. According to Community and Economic Development Director Rich Rotella, the current 315-foot wooden seasonal structure is slated for replacement with a 400-foot concrete year-round structure. And that replacement project officially went out to bid on Friday. He says one of the many benefits the new dock will have is it will be compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
The goal is to get through the bid process. Work cannot begin until November 15th in the water due to regulations.
The project to install the new dock began in 2019 and is funded with around $4 million in congressionally directed spending through Senator Susan Collins' office and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Rotella says the goal is for the new dock to be ready by spring of next year.
All good news.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, there's a walking tour of Bangor that brings light to Black history. We'll share that story ahead.
But first, another check of that forecast. A rainy day ahead today with highs near 58 degrees. The rain will come to an end tonight. The clouds moving out of the area, lows dropping down to the mid-40s. Partly cloudy day tomorrow before a little more rain in the afternoon. Highs around 67 degrees. We'll be back with more right after this.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Welcome to outdoor living. Welcome to Granville Stone and Hearth. Goodness knows we've been cooped up long enough. Make plans now to enjoy the outside of your home, too. Come to Granville and see, touch, and imagine what you can do in your backyard. Light a path, light a fire, grill a meal, sit a bit. It's all in stock. There's a staycation right outside your door with expert help from Granville, one of the largest outdoor living suppliers in Maine. Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Bangor, ready to get rugged? Join the community April 20th for the massive grand opening of Rugged Roots Trading Post, Stillwater Avenue, Bangor. Meet the crew. Explore a wide selection of premium Maine-grown products. Doors open 9 a.m. Cut rate prices you won't believe. Can't wait till 4:20? They're open now. Or visit ruggedrootstradingpost.com. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older. License number AMS 1775.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
At the Challenger Learning Center of Maine, our mission to inspire Maine students has never been stronger. Our newly renovated facility is open and ready to launch. We have upgraded simulator rooms, refreshed learning spaces, and new hands-on STEM experiences. Check out our exciting upcoming events for students, educators, and families. There's always something happening at Challenger. Ready for liftoff? Explore what's new and what's next at the Challenger Learning Center of Maine. Visit astronaut.org for details.
Welcome back, everyone. 23 people from all around the world became U.S. citizens on Friday. The ceremony was held inside the Margaret Chase Smith Federal Building in Bangor. Among them was Rayon Kirby, who says his biggest challenge was understanding the English language and learning U.S. history. But as the 21-year-old told us, he's proud to say he speaks fluent English now, and he explained that he's looking forward to pursuing an education in exercise science and getting into the field of sports.
It's never too late. Just try and give it your best, and don't be afraid.
On top of being involved in the world of sports, Kirby also says he has aspirations to play college football and someday make it to the NFL draft.
Some great goals there.
Yeah.
Well, the Maine Whoopie Pie Festival is a beloved Dover Foxcroft tradition, and last year around 10,000 people came to enjoy those festivities, which locals say is excellent for the economy, but can be a headache when it comes to traffic. Patrick Myers is an organizer for the Whoopie Pie Festival. He says the small volunteer team of folks directing parking and traffic last year were well over their heads. To get more assistance this year, Myers is seeking local organizations to help out with manpower. In exchange, participating organizations will receive $1,000 donations.
This year, the Essex Street Bridge down by the fairgrounds is closed. We need to get some more help making sure we could get the cars in off the street so we weren't tying up traffic so much around town.
Interested organizations are asked to call the Center Theater and ask for Patrick Myers. The festival will take place on June 13th.
There's an annual walking tour of Bangor that brings light to history that's hiding in plain sight.
On Friday, our Doug Banks spoke with one organizer who said he wants it to become a more common occurrence.
This 2-minute news story only scratches the surface of what lies beneath us.
Just trying to accept the fact that the possibilities are there and opening up the idea of it is something that I don't think has really been presented to the community at whole.
Next month, Black Travel Maine will be hosting a Black History walking tour of downtown Bangor.
The Black community in this area, it's not necessarily a segregated area.
The tour will traverse time and landmarks, taking participants across the Kenduskeag Stream toward the Columbia Street Baptist Church.
A lot of activity for the Black community happened there. Then it'll move on to Hammond Street. We'll talk about Hammond Street Congregational Church. That church where the Anti-Slavery Society used to hold functions back in the 1830s when they first got together. And then from there we'll move back into downtown Bangor and talk about the Underground Railroads underneath Pickering Square. The oral history behind that, moving slaves through the Underground Railroad, across the river over to the Holyoke House, which ties in the North to Freedom statue, where they were stationed until it was safe for them to continue their ground travel towards Canada.
For Bangor area guide David Payne, the tour goes beyond Bangor's brick facade.
It really is a family involvement. A lot of my research when I started, I talked with family, a couple of them fortunate for me, they were born in the 1800s and I was able to get the time to talk with them. Others that have since passed on shared stories that weren't asked through the generations. And I'm able to carry that forward.
The tour will be held on Saturday, May 2nd, and it'll start at 1 o'clock in front of the Black Matriarch sign in front of the Bangor Public Library. To learn more, visit blacktravelmaine.com.
The biggest thing for me with the tour is just recognizing what used to be here and how everything used to come together.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A great opportunity.
It is. Yeah. Well, the time now is 8:19. After the break, peace talks between the U.S. and Iran have failed as the U.S. Navy prepares to impose a blockade at the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, the latest coming up, plus students at Husson University who plan to go into investigative careers had the chance to solve some cold cases. We'll have the story coming up on Good Morning Maine.
See the U.S. best way to see the USA starts in a Chevy SUV with room for the whole family, added peace of mind for every mile, and range to take you farther.
Get out there and see the USA, because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 3.9% financing for 60 months on all 2026 Equinox models. Plus, no monthly payments for 90 days.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
We are the Dillos. We are from Northern Kentucky. Being out in a rural area, coverage is pretty hit and miss with other carriers, so switching to T-Mobile solved a lot of problems that we had.
I'm able to use T-Satellite now. We've got coverage no matter where we're at.
America's best network meets off-the-grid satellite coverage with T-Satellite. And now switch to T-Mobile and get free phones for $0 down. Plus 4 lines for only $25 per month per line.
Better service, better price, win-win.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Step into a story that's funny, touching, and deeply human. Winterport Open Stage presents The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. This unique production blends a series of scenes into a heartfelt look at family and tradition. Performances run May 1st, 2nd, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m., with matinees May 3rd and 10th at 3 p.m. at Samuel Wagner Middle School in Winterport. For tickets, visit winterportopenstage.net or find Winterport Open Stage on Facebook.
Welcome back, everyone. A unique program at Husson University is giving students the chance to step into the world of criminal justice by working on cases that still need answers.
Our Alexa Kennedy has the story.
Students pursuing investigative careers are getting the opportunity to work on real-life cold cases through the Husson Cold Case Internship Program. The hands-on program brings together students in pre-law, forensic science, and criminal justice to analyze and potentially resolve cold cases provided by state police and the Attorney General's office.
We really push the methodology of experiential learning. And what better way for students to get experience on what they're going to be doing once they leave here than giving them some practice at it while they are here.
Students review evidence, build witness lists, and explore new investigative options using modern techniques. Pelletier says even small steps matter.
I would make the argument that anytime you look at a case, you're going to make some type of progress. It just doesn't, you might not know what that looks like.
Participating students say this interactive program gave them an advantage when preparing to enter the workforce.
I feel like this has helped me get my firsthand real-world experience before I'm put out into the real world and graduate, which I feel like has given me an opportunity that not many people get to say they have.
It truly brings your education to life. I wanted to do something meaningful. I'm really big about helping other people, and it gave me an opportunity to really help the victims and their families and give them some sort of sense of closure.
At the end of each semester, students present their findings, hoping their work can help move cases closer to resolution. In Bangor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the time now is 8:23. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. There's that small craft advisory that is posted until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday along the coast, watching for some active surf that will be occurring with an area low pressure that will be passing through. We're seeing that starting to develop with 4-foot wave height, so it's not terrible out there. We may see more active surf occurring farther out towards sea. Still not active just quite yet, but we may see it picking up more later on. But in the meantime, we just have rainfall occurring this morning, tracking from the west and going toward the east. No lightning occurring, so that is good news. And overall, it will be a gentle rainfall that will be occurring with rising temperatures taking place today. As we do zoom things out, there's that area low low pressure right there tracking off towards the east, so temperatures will be on the warming trend moving forward. So futurecasts as we move forward today, notice we'll track this rain off towards the north and east, the wind picking up too. More rain this afternoon, starting to back off into the evening time frame. Some clouds breaking up, but as we head towards tomorrow, still some clouds lingering. And even as we head towards Tuesday afternoon, we'll still watch for some more rain showers that will be on the way, possibly some thunderstorms in a few spots too as we head towards Tuesday evening. As for the rain chances, I'm just going to run this through as we head towards Wednesday morning. Around a half inch to 3/4 of an inch in some spots before we're all finished up. Some other areas just a little bit less. And we could definitely use the rainfall too, with a good part, if not all of the state still in some form of drought. So for today, rain likely, windy, highs in the upper 50s, south wind at around 25 miles per hour. Overnight, we have mid 40s. Here we go. Rain showers early, then decreasing clouds and a southwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, we have upper 60s, partly cloudy, afternoon rain showers and a light and variable wind. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Mostly cloudy for your Wednesday with highs in the mid 60s. Rain chances for your Thursday with highs in the low 60s. And then some more rain Friday, highs in the mid 60s.
At Spectrum, we believe a great connection shouldn't come with compromise. And now, it doesn't have to. Get Spectrum fiber-powered internet. And when you add 2 mobile phone lines, it's just $30 a month each. Experience the fastest internet and most reliable 5G network. And save $1,000 on internet and mobile in your first year. Guaranteed. That's the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. Call now or go online to save $1,000 on internet and mobile.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you can get $3.99 for $72 on an affordable fuel-sipping all-wheel drive Camry hybrid with a captivating interior and 2 years no-cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your hybrid all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Someone in this room could win $100,000 if they can answer a few simple questions.
Which pieces will look like this kite? Did we just lose everyone on the show? It's so easy now, isn't it? Oh my God. What's happening?
My family gonna think I'm stupid.
No. All of America will think you're stupid.
The 1% Club, season premiere tonight on Fox.
The U.S. and Iran failed to reach a peace deal this weekend, with those talks stalled over several key issues, including Iran refusing to abandon its nuclear program. And now action today by the U.S. military could be seen by Iran as a break in the 2-week ceasefire.
ABC's Lionel Moyes has the latest from New York.
Oil prices on the rise as the U.S. Navy prepares to impose a blockade in the critical Strait of Hormuz after peace talks failed to reach a deal.
I don't care if they come back or not. If they don't come back, I'm fine. And remember, their promise was that they were going to open the Hormuz Strait. They didn't do it. They lied.
Vice President Vance, emerging from 21 hours of talks, said Iran would not commit to giving up its nuclear program. Iran's foreign minister claims Iran engaged in good faith, but encountered maximalism, shifting goalposts, and blockade. President Trump says the U.S. blockade in the Strait will begin this morning, posting any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell.
We're putting on a complete blockade. We're not going to let Iran make money on selling oil.
The Iranians cannot afford to lose 2 million barrels a day of oil revenue. So the U.S. is going to give the Iranians a couple days to think about it. Do you really want to call the U.S.'s bluff and attack U.S. forces and restart this war?
Iran warning any military vessel approaching the strait will violate the current 2-week ceasefire and will be met with severe force. Iran says this video shows a standoff Saturday with a U.S. destroyer.
This is Coalition Warship 121, engaged in transit passage. No challenges attended to you.
The blockade could also put more pressure on the U.S. economy. The gas index rising by 21%, the highest monthly increase on record.
So do you believe the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be. It could be or the same or maybe a little bit higher, but it should be around the same.
President Trump is also now threatening new tariffs on China after reports that China may have sent weapons to Iran. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Now, the other big story this morning, sexual misconduct allegations against Congressman Eric Swalwell, now forcing him to suspend his campaign for California governor. This morning, after mounting pressure, not just from Republicans, but also from fellow Democrats, Congressman Swalwell is suspending his campaign amid allegations of sexual assault and misconduct. 4 women have accused him of sexual assault and inappropriate conduct, according to the San Francisco Chronicle and CNN. Republicans are now planning to force a vote to expel him from Congress, and some Democrats say they'll support that effort. Expelling him from Congress would require approval from 2/3 of the House. A vote could come this week.
Now to another frightening security incident at the home of a CEO who's one of the most influential figures in artificial intelligence.
Sophie Flay with that story.
For the second time in 2 days, a security scare at the home of billionaire artificial intelligence CEO Sam Altman. Around 2 a.m. Sunday, San Francisco police say someone fired gunshots from a car hitting the OpenAI CEO's home. 2 suspects were later arrested, police say, with multiple firearms. Just 2 days earlier, a Molotov cocktail was thrown at Altman's home. The suspect in that case was arrested at the company's headquarters, allegedly threatening to burn down the building.
Even things like pathological liar in great duplication across many sources.
Late last week, journalists Ronan Farrow and Andrew Morantz profiled Altman for The New Yorker, describing him as having a relentless will to power, quoting a board member who accuses the CEO of a sociopathic lack of concern for the consequences of deceiving others.
And he started to get the feeling, as we quote him in the piece, saying, "I don't think Sam is the guy who should have his finger on the button."
Altman responded, admitting to a, quote, bunch of mistakes, but calling the article incendiary, saying, "I am awake in the middle of the night and pissed and thinking that I have underestimated the power of words and narratives." Amid growing concern for uncertainty over how artificial intelligence could transform the economy, Altman posted a photo of his husband and baby writing, "I believe technological progress can make the future unbelievably good for your family and mine. While we have that debate, we should de-escalate the rhetoric and tactics and try to have fewer explosions in fewer homes, figuratively and literally." Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Up on the second half of the newscast, a women's empowerment event took place in Bangor, organized by She's an Asset.
You learned how to defend yourself.
I sure did. I joined in.
All right, we'll have that story coming back.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
When I had first left for college, I was super excited to start pursuing my dreams, and I had met so many amazing people my freshman year. Yeah, some days were really hard, balancing work life and classes, but most of them, they were the best of my life, because I had something not everyone gets. A dad inspiring me every step of the way, and I'm so happy to graduate beside you.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2026, and this is also National Make Lunch Count Day.
Whether you have a sandwich or a salad or even a smoothie, this is a day to make sure that you get important fuel boost. It wasn't until the 1830s that eating lunch became a regular thing between breakfast and dinner, but now it's considered an important meal in order to get through the day. You can celebrate this holiday by organizing a group lunch with your coworkers, buying a lunch for someone else, or simply putting in a little effort to make sure that you eat a tasty and healthy lunch today.
Maybe skip the fast food today and make yourself something special or something.
Well, I was saying I'm craving like a chicken Caesar wrap or something.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so I might have to do that for lunch.
Yeah, that's good for breakfast too. I'd eat one right now.
I know, me too. we're just hungry.
Yeah. All right, moving on to history. It was on this date back in 1796. The United States received its first elephant. It was purchased in India for $450 and sold in New York for $10,000. Before that, people here in America only saw them in like magazines and that
not
sort
in
of
person.
thing. Yeah. In 1861, Fort Sumter in South Carolina fell to Confederate forces during the very first battle of the Civil War. And in 1873 on this date, members of a pro-white paramilitary group attacked members of a black state militia that was defending a courthouse in Colfax, Louisiana. 3 white men and as many as 150 black men were killed in what is known as the Colfax Massacre. The attackers were made up of Ku Klux Klan members and former Confederate soldiers and was considered one of the worst cases of Reconstruction-era violence following the Civil War.
And in 1943, President Franklin D. Roosevelt dedicated the Jefferson Memorial in Washington on the 200th anniversary of his birth. And in 1976, the U.S. reintroduced the $2 bill during the country's 200th anniversary. And in 1997, Tiger Woods was 21 years old when he became the youngest golfer to win the Masters tournament in Georgia.
I think he made a pretty good career out of it, too.
Oh, absolutely.
And ended up working okay for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And lastly, in 2019, the world's largest airplane had its first flight in the Mojave Desert in California. The Strato launch was built to launch rockets into orbit while flying at a high altitude. Its wingspan was bigger than a football field and has landing gear equipped with 28 wheels.
That's a massive plane.
It's huge.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Ron Perlman, who is 76 today, musician Max Weinberg is 75, and actress Allison Williams is 38 years old today. And happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today. You got to learn who some new people are today.
Yes, I did. During the 6 a.m. show, I had no idea who any of them were.
Yeah.
And now I know who all of them are.
Yeah, you recognize them?
Yeah, you learn when you see them and do some research.
I learned through these things too.
Yeah. Well, now we'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We'll be watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame. Moving forward, we have rain that's moving in this morning for the northwest and going toward the south and east. The lightning tracker is on. Thankfully, no lightning occurring, so just a gentle, sometimes moderate rainfall occurring. As we do zoom things out, here's that area low pressure that is tracking off towards the east, and we will be watching for some rainfall and some breaks occurring. So later on this morning, we'll be watching for the rainfall and some gusty winds with more rain occurring this afternoon in the parts of the evening time frame. Notice by tomorrow, still some clouds lingering. As for the gusty winds reaching up to about 25 to even 30 miles per hour today, getting close to 40 miles per hour along the coast, and we'll keep the winds going this afternoon as well as in the evening time frame, and the winds slowly backing off as we head towards tomorrow. Your hourly forecast moving forward for today. Notice we'll have the clouds and the rain backing off for a bit, but picking up as we head towards the afternoon period. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Well, meanwhile, a new event was recently held in Bangor. She's an Asset is a women's empowerment class led by Autumn Schmidt.
Participants dive into workshops and a self-defense class, all aimed at unlocking their inner power. I had the chance to step away from the desk and take part in that action.
today? Why are you here?
We're an asset.
You're an asset. Yes, you are. Tell me more.
Taking up more space.
Taking up more space. Yes. What else? What are we doing? Anybody know? We're growing.
Women of all ages gathered in Bangor to unlock their inner potential with Autumn Schmidt, founder of the company She's an Asset. That motto followed participants throughout the day as they were asked to reflect and journal on their life. Schmidt encourages all women to take what they learned from the class and apply it to their everyday lives. A bakery owner expressed her experience with the class.
I mean, the confidence thing, the empowerment that I, need to feel in myself really will help not only me but my business grow.
Participants not only brainstormed with each other, they also got to experience a self-defense class with Schmidt, who is a police officer and black belt.
Strike. Breathe out. Strike. Good.
The class gets you up and moving while learning important skills. Someone else in attendance was Autumn's mother, someone who's seen her build this company from the ground up.
Just overjoyed when you watch your child succeed.
Well, if you're looking to become more powerful, whether that's in your career or your personal life, you can find Schmidt at she'sanasset.com or on social media at, of course, She's an Asset. In Bangor, Janessa Bishop for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Do you feel more empowered now?
I do.
Ready
yes.
to protect yourself?
Yes, I learned so much from her. And as I said in the package, she's a police officer and a black belt, so she definitely knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I'd love for my daughters to take that sometime.
If she's ever up in the Bangor area again, recommend getting the tickets.
That's great.
Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
Don't go away.
The best way to see the USA starts in a Chevy SUV with room for the whole family, added peace of mind for every mile, and range to take you farther.
Get out there and see the USA, because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 3.9% financing for 60 months on all 2026 Equinox models, plus no monthly payments for 90 days.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
Playing it safe won't propel Maine forward. Conservative Jonathan Bush agrees. A new kind of Bush. He believes Maine needs to diversify our economy, cut property and income taxes. Conservative, Republican, disruptor. Jonathan Bush for governor.
Taxes was chasing updates. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you, so you can chase this feeling. Now this is Taxes. Don't miss the deadline. File by 4/15.
Is that a compression nut?
Oh! Ah!
We got a duct taper.
Bangor, ready to get rugged? Join the community April 20th for the massive grand opening of Rugged Roots Trading Post, Stillwater Avenue, Bangor. Meet the crew. Explore a wide selection of premium Maine-grown products. Doors open 9 a.m. Cut rate prices you won't believe. Can't wait till 4/20? They're open now. Or visit ruggedrootstradingpost.com. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older. License number AMS 1775.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. Last fall, former NASCAR driver Ricky Craven returned to Maine and purchased the former Speedway 95. With races beginning this summer, I went trackside with Craven to talk about his inspiration to revive the sport of racing in Maine.
It's going to be a drag race. Wow! They touch! Craven!
Much is known about Ricky Craven, the race car driver. The former NASCAR Cup Series racer spent 25 years behind the wheel of the world's fastest cars and competed in the world's most iconic events. Following his racing career and a 14-year stint as an analyst at ESPN, Craven is beginning what he calls his third life, being a track owner.
It's mostly my purpose. I mean, there's everything else in life, and then there's racing, and racing has been front and center. 25 years behind the wheel, that blossomed into a 14-year career as an analyst. Much like that, this just arrived, and we capitalized on it. So here we are, track owner.
The Maine-born driver purchased the former Speedway 95 back in August. Craven says his inspiration for adopting the racetrack goes all the way back to his childhood.
Speedway 95 was as important to me in my childhood as the Daytona 500, even more so, because my heroes raced there. As I grew in the sport, not everybody acknowledged Bangor, Maine, or Herman, Maine, as being motorsports mecca.
Craven has since set out to change that narrative. Creating a strong racing hub in central Maine will require a lot of time, effort, and of course, money. A challenge Craven says he's approaching the same way he did in his racing career.
We're not going to take a backseat to anybody. We want to be a premier facility. We want to have an extraordinary show. And we want people that come here to feel like they can't wait to get back.
Craven's full vision for the track will take several years to come to fruition. But he says he's already seeing the excitement start to ramp up in the Pine Tree State.
The early innings, they're not how we want to be remembered. We want to be remembered for the end product. And it'll take 3 or 4 years. Now, what's most impressive is the enthusiasm from the competitors, the customers, the advertising, the business sector here, the advertising market. The enthusiasm has been over the top.
The first official race here will be on June 6th. So from Ricky Craven Speedway, presented by Bar Harbor Bank and Trust, I'm Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports. Such a cool experience being able to go out on the track, take some laps with him, and pick his brain about his career and his vision for the track. This weekend, both the Husson men's and women's lacrosse teams played in front of their home crowd. So we'll bring you those games now, starting with the men. What a game we had here. SUNY Delhi and the Broncos make the long trip to take on the Eagles at Boucher Field. Getting things started early are the Broncos' Kyle Moore dishes to Anthony McLaughlin. He lays it low in traffic and scores the first goal of the game. Then later, Jagger Baychak with this sweet underhand toss to Chris Lazaro to keep the lead at halftime at 6-3 Delhi. But that's when things changed. Kieran Field snipes the top of the net to give the Eagles a start to their run. Another goal from Field, plus scores from Owen Giorgio and Dominic Hollenkamp would tie the game up at 7. And then this missile from Giorgio coming back the other way in the fourth quarter gives Husson their first lead of the game, and they never looked back. This goal from Hollenkamp to go up 4 in the fourth quarter would seal the game for Husson, and they win 12-9. As for the women, it was senior day for the Eagles, and they take on UMaine Farmington. The Eagles started hot. Avery Baker finds Kate Bumke cutting in front of the crease, and she finds the back of the net. Shortly after that, Layla Martinez makes a few nice moves on her way to the net, and she also cashes in. Reese Sullivan nets this shot to give Husson a 5-1 lead early, but not so fast as the Beavers made up for their early slump, starting with Ruby McMinnis, who fires one from point blank to make it 5-2. And then they make it 5-4 after McMinnis finds Allie Trefsker on the free position shot. Husson found that same spark from earlier, though, and Avery Baker adds another point to her season total. And then Martinez dodges and weaves her way for her third goal of the game. She would end up with 4, and the Eagles win 14-8. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
To win every single day. Today's the day.
here for the rest of my life, and maybe yours too.
I found the University Studies program, and the people were fantastic, and they helped me understand how I could really pretty easily become part of UMaine, become part of that program, and showed me that within about 2 years, I could have my degree. What I like about being able to study anywhere is probably this. I can literally be outside on the deck. I can be in my house. I can be in another country doing my schoolwork, and it just works really well for for the life that I have.
Hi, Butch Robichaud from J&J Auto Salvage. Yep, been here 40 years, retiring this year. Turning the reins over to Anthony and the boys. Hope to serve you for another 40 years. The next time you're thinking about saving money on your car, give us a call. We got fenders, doors, motors, transmissions, you name it, whatever it is, we have it. We're down on the Brewer Lake Road. Everything we sell carries a 90-day warranty. And don't forget, best attitude in the business.
The 26th annual wheelchair basketball tournament returned to Hudson University's Newman Gymnasium on Saturday. It's hosted by the Organization of Physical Therapy Students, bringing together faculty, students, wheelchair users from the community, and this year, a professional wheelchair basketball team.
Some of our real athletes who are playing here, and it's so fun to see them go from being able to play with their legs, their arms, to not having their legs at all, and just seeing how they understand the struggle of everyday users, and just being appreciative for everything that people have, and like being able to just participate in something like this is just so fun.
Well, every year the tournament functions as a fundraiser for a campus organization, and this year they raised funds for the Student Food Insecurity and Emergency Fund, which helps to ensure that no Hudson students ever have to go hungry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. There's that small craft advisory that is posted until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday along the coast, watching for some active surf that will be occurring with an area low pressure that will be passing through. We're seeing that starting to develop with 4-foot wave heights, so it's not terrible out there. We may see more active surf occurring farther out towards sea. Still not active just quite yet, but we may see it picking up more later on. But in the meantime, we just have rainfall occurring this morning, tracking from the west and going toward the east. No lightning occurring, so that is good news. And overall, it will be a gentle rainfall that will be occurring with rising temperatures taking place today. As we do zoom things out, there's that area low pressure right there tracking off towards the east, so temperatures will be on the warming trend moving forward. So futurecasts as we move forward today, notice we'll track this rain off towards the north and east, the wind picking up too. More rain this afternoon, starting to back off into the evening time frame. Some clouds breaking up, but as we head towards tomorrow, still some clouds lingering, and even as we head towards Tuesday afternoon, we'll still watch for some more rain showers that will be on the way, possibly some thunderstorms and a few spots too as we head towards Tuesday evening. As for the rain chances, I'm just going to run this through as we head towards Wednesday morning, around a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch in some spots before we're all finished up. Some other areas just a little bit less, and we could definitely use the rainfall too, with a good part, if not all of the state still in some form of drought. So for today, rain likely, windy, highs in the upper 50s, south wind at around 25 miles per hour. Overnight, we have mid-40s. Here we go. Rain showers early, then decreasing clouds and a southwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, we have upper 60s, partly cloudy, afternoon rain showers and a light and variable wind. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Mostly cloudy for your Wednesday with highs in the mid-60s. Rain chances for your Thursday with highs in the low 60s. And then some more rain Friday, highs in the mid-60s.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
I'm Barry Higgins from Maple Lane Farm. We have our own beef herd here. We're on about 800 head, and it's raised right here on the farm. And we go direct to the consumer. No middleman, all natural, good old-fashioned Maine beef. Our quality is unbeatable. We have specials on Facebook every week. We guarantee our product 100%, whether it be beef, pork, or chicken. And we have a small selection of lamb also.
Maple Lane Farm, a candy store for a carnivore.
Meet the toughest team in the game, Bad Boy Mowers and Bad Boy Tractors. These powerhouses will do whatever it takes to win, putting in the work with unrivaled engineering, game-changing features like heated seats and an Alpine entertainment system, plus durable implements and style that's in a league of its own. Bad Boy Mowers and Tractors. Power, performance, attitude.
Are you intimidated by those balls up there?
Oh, I am not intimidated by balls.
Oh, wow.
Release the ball. Welcome back to the Quiz with Balls, baby. Quiz with Balls.
Which of these are real schools in the U.S.?
I've dealt with a few clowns in my life. I swear they all go to the same school.
Release the ball. Get it on.
You're making me nervous.
It's cash or splash. Everybody got that?
The Quiz with Balls splashes back tonight on Fox.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
You didn't need a passport to take a culinary trip around the world on Friday, not as long as you were at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor. Employees, patients, and visitors were invited to attend their multicultural food court event. They got to sample flavors from all around the globe, including cuisines from Italy, Lebanon, Japan, and Mexico.
It's a wonderful way to build that, the cultural connection, understanding, awareness, and get people to come together and just eat good food and talk and laugh.
Organizers say the event was good for morale, and they're pleased with the turnout on Friday as well.
How nice.
You know, I've stayed there before, and I think the food at EMMC is
pretty
good.
No,
it's
that's
not bad.
awesome.
They make it all right there, but
Yeah.
that would make it even better.
Of course.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Pine Tree Hospice is a volunteer organization providing non-medical support to individuals nearing the end of their lives. To keep their work going, they hosted their 30th annual variety show at Dover Foxcroft's Center Theater. That's just a glimpse of just one of the several acts the variety show offered on Sunday. Organizers say it's a beloved local tradition and helps the organization fundraise while offering a day of fun to Dover Foxcroft.
We have one of the best shows that we've ever had. Even though we've been 30 years doing this, it just keeps getting better and better. And we're just so happy and so thrilled with those that come out, not only to watch the show, but give us their time in performing.
Pine Tree Hospice is always seeking both volunteers and donations. They will also hold a golf tournament in August.
Well, a man who was trapped in a gold mine in northwestern Mexico is safely rescued. 42-year-old Francisco Zapata Najera was found alive with water up to his waist after being trapped for nearly 2 weeks inside the flooded El Rosario mine in Mexico. He was found on Tuesday, but it took rescuers about 21 hours before they were able to safely bring him out. There were 25 miners working underground when the mine collapsed on March 25th. 21 of them were able to escape. One miner was rescued alive 5 days after the collapse, while the body of a third missing miner has since been recovered. Rescue crews are still searching for the fourth missing miner.
Wow.
But what an incredible thing.
Yes. Well, are you feeling lucky? A raffle in France is offering a chance to win a portrait by Pablo Picasso for the price of €100, which is equivalent to $117. All proceeds are going to Alzheimer's research. You better snag a ticket quick because the drawing is taking place tomorrow at Christie's Auction House. This also isn't the first time a Picasso has been auctioned off. In 2020, the oil-on canvas Nature Mort art piece was auctioned off and won by an accountant in in France. The Alzheimer Research Foundation is one of Paris's leading hospitals and says it has become France's private leading financer of Alzheimer-related medical research. This fundraiser, of course, lets ticket buyers get a chance to win big, but also supports a good cause at the same time.
Where would you put it? That's the question.
Well, yeah, that
so you
is.
just bought your first Picasso. Where do you hang it in your house?
I think probably in the entryway. Right in the front.
As soon as people come in, you're just
Yes.
nailed with the Picasso.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us.
Thanks for being there, folks. We hope you have a great day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, we're expecting great things from him today, which is probably our mistake. It's John Barinholtz. Joining John are mother and daughter, April and Chanel.